Topia Online is a cutting-edge sandbox MMORPG with completely new concepts that have never been attempted in a commercial MMORPG to date. Now, everyone out there has always imagined a game with no limits, where you're part of a living, breathing world that's evolving based on what the players are doing rather than what the developers are implementing. And in the past, this has always been a pipe dream. No game company has the budget to develop a game that has an indefinite amount of content in a completely dynamic world. Now, we're about to change that by giving the players many of the same tools that we as developers are using to build this game. In Topia Online, players control all the creatures. They design all the powers and abilities. They build the cities. They can even construct their own machinery. And everything in Topia Online is crafted by the players. Every NPC is customized and coded by the players as well. But wait, if players can do all these things, wouldn't the game just kind of turn into an unbalanced mess? Wouldn't players just end up creating godlike items and spells to dominate the game server? And what's to stop people from getting an unfair advantage if they have access to the world creation tools? Well, everything you can do in the game is governed by your character's skills and items. So in other words, you can't just change or create something in the world if your character is not capable of doing it due to limitations in his skills. For example, in order to design a fireball spell, you need brimstone and your character needs pyromancy. And if you want the spell to track down opponents from a long distance, you're going to need to throw in a mana node and have the evocation skill. So although you can create powers from scratch, your characters still need to meet the requirements. So what about NPCs and quests? When Topia Online launches in March 2013, each game server will be a randomly generated world that is completely empty of humans and monsters. Players start extremely primitively, building tools from rocks, branches, and eventually they grow in stature and presence, and they start to build cities, adopt standards for trade, form factions, guilds, begin developing more advanced technology and powers. And as players take on roles in society, they'll create their own quests using the development tools. For example, if your farm's constantly being invaded by wolves, you may end up providing quests to new players to help protect the farm against wolves. And since players control all of the creatures in Topia Online, including monsters, PvP is implied. In other games, you're accustomed to killing orcs and goblins all day long. In Topia Online, these orcs and goblins are controlled by other players. Now, they may be completely scripted like in other online games, but the scripts and routines are written by players. So what kind of creatures can you play in Topia Online? Well, we have an extensive list of races being implemented, including dwarves, wolves, slimes, giant spiders, elementals, zombies, goblins, ghosts, even dragons. And players are required to play as simpler creatures until they've earned enough points to unlock and evolve into larger and more advanced monsters. So if you've ever wanted to play as a slime in an MMORPG, here's your chance. It doesn't sound exciting at first. I mean, you're a trash mob, right? But let me tell you, we're going to go above and beyond to make these creatures crazy and interesting. Slimes can crawl into people's plumbing systems, slide under doors, split into more slimes, change colors to adjust their powers, and even form large creatures out of slime cubes. In fact, even simple creatures like slimes can cause a huge impact to the game world if they get out of control. Video games have you believe that good always prevails, and it's a comforting feeling to know that heroes always come out on top. However, life in a fantasy world is not what it's cracked up to be. If players don't work together for the greater good, not only will you die, but the entire game world can be devastated. And this brings me to another very important feature. In Topia Online, everyone's characters are always in the game world, even when you log out. This brings the world to life because characters don't just mysteriously disappear. Everyone serves a role, and they're always present in the living, breathing world. So what can you do to protect yourself while you're offline? Well, for one, your character is going to always defend himself 100% effectively against attacks while offline. Our combat system's designed in such a way that you design your combat strategy for your character, and combat takes place in a semi-automated form. However, you can use a combat script while offline to customize the way your character fights. Additionally, while logged out in your house, you receive combat bonuses against intruders. And finally, you can hire minions, as they're called, to protect you at all times, making it highly risky for other players to attack you. Okay, yeah, so what's to prevent people from just knocking down your door or griefing you? And many people have expressed concern with griefing and trolling in online games. Our goal in Topia is to minimize the amount of random killing and griefing by ensuring that combat's always risky. Then you have player-created laws, automated guard patrols, and harsh penalties for death that'll heavily curb the amount of random attacks. And getting a combat proficient character doesn't involve grinding in the traditional sense. It will instead require you to interact with the game community to earn influence that allows you to increase your skills. So in Topia, you're actually rewarded for your creativity and social presence rather than how many hours you play the game each week. And this means that having a powerful character involves interacting with the community rather than farming mobs all day. Therefore, even players that play 24/7 will not be an unstoppable force for a casual merchant. And you can use this influence to create minions, claim land, improve skills, and even create laws. So let's take a quick look at one of the core features in Topia Online. Now, these brightly lit obelisks are the source of all life, and they're what generate the game world. You can click on an obelisk to review its settings and powers. Now, certain players will be able to use these obelisks to change the flora, fauna of the zone, as well as numerous other things. And this means that players can directly control how the game world is being seeded and generated. So although Topia doesn't have NPCs in the traditional sense, you can still spawn minions and give them orders. So when I click Create Human Minion, you're actually going to see him spawn into the game world so that I can give him orders. And you can play Topia like a real-time strategy by acting as a commander for an army of minions. You have complete 100% control and customization on how they behave, and you can even fully automate them. And this gives casual players a great number of options to manage an empire, even if they don't have a lot of time to play the game. So a lot of people don't have any scripting experience, but that's why we've built this in-game script marketplace that allows players to buy and sell their creations using in-game influence. And we as developers are going to continually add scripts to the marketplace for free each week. But as you can see here, I'm going to grab this lumber chopping script and get it added to my minion so that I can command him to chop trees. And it is really cool because the community is going to populate the marketplace with more game content than we as developers can build. So now I can put my minion to work on this tree, and that way my main character doesn't need to spend influence on learning lumberjacking, and he doesn't really need to get his hands dirty. So let's take a look at what else I can use from the marketplace. Well, I know my character has the illusion skill, so I can grab this transform wolf power and try using it. And it looks like it requires a wolf figurine to cast, so thankfully I have a bunch of those on my character. So I can just add the power to my hotbar and then click it on my character to use it. So the marketplace has all kinds of different powers and scripts, and it's really cool that users can just kind of experiment, see what types of things that other players have built, and it's really limitless to what can be done. And there's also extensive documentation so that people, even with no scripting experience, can get their hands dirty, start messing with things, tinkering with things, and this is a really great way, to learn a real skill like JavaScript, see your things work, and work with the community to create things together. And most builder games out there don't really give the players a lot of tools. I mean, you can always dig and you can stack blocks on one another, but this goes the extra mile to say, code what you want, work with the community, and just let gameplay emerge from people's creativity. So you're probably wondering, how much is this game going to cost? What are the plans to monetize it? Well, for one, the game's going to have a one-time fee of $24.99 to purchase. So you'll have access to one character slot per race, and you'll be able to purchase additional character slots. There's not going to be any subscription to continue playing the game, so once you've bought an account, you can play free forever. Now, we're also implementing an art marketplace where our team is going to draw and design custom art for your characters, buildings, items, virtually anything you can think of. So our team's pretty much dedicated to building whatever you need as long as it matches the spirit of the game. And, we're also working on a system that allows players to submit their own art for review by our team. And this will allow us to monetize the game while also increasing the amount of content available to players. We're dedicated to never providing any sort of pay-to-win marketplace, so everything's cosmetic and, changes the appearance of things in the game. So we're making numerous efforts also to improve the graphics in Topia Online, and we love shiny graphics as much as you do. But our primary focus is to provide a game that's balanced, fun, and just plain awesome. However, we also want to deliver a stylish and slick looking game, and that means hundreds of animations, very detailed landscapes, and a huge variety of art assets for players to use. And we plan on making numerous improvements to the game engine before release, including advanced lighting, real-time shadows, post-processing, physics, particle effects, and we're going to hire additional artists. We'll be able to spend more time on cleaning up the graphics and drawing more detailed sprites. So we've also provided the players with tools to create their own interfaces, and this means the players can build their own guild panels, shop interfaces, auction houses, banks, mapping systems, and virtually anything they can come up with. And this means that our team is spending a huge amount of resources developing tools that are both user-friendly and powerful. So we've been developing Topia Online for a year now, and our costs have grown pretty high. And as the owner and lead developer, I've been paying the team out of pocket and working a day job in order to sustain the development. So we pretty much need another developer, another artist, funding for server hardware, legal representation, customer service, software licenses, and a musician, to complete the game soundtrack. So we've set a goal at 50,000 because this is how much it's going to cost to obtain the resources to complete the game in March. We're not going to be the next WoW. We're taking huge risks by going outside the box of typical theme park MMORPGs, and we really want to try something different. We think you're going to love this game, so if this game sounds awesome to you, we urge you to pledge through Kickstarter, tell all your friends about the game, and we vow to continue to support the game for years to come. We want to get as many players as possible into the beta in early January. So if you want to start playing the game soon after the new year, pledge as soon as possible so that we can start planning on the number of beta testers we're going to have. And if you pledge at least $25, you're going to get a game account, so you can pretty much play forever. And if you're a member or a leader of a guild or clan, our ultimate Kickstarter reward is going to get your clan a private sandbox instance outside the game that lets you experiment with scripts and just have meetings with your guild and so forth. And you also get dozens of special rewards for your guild, including custom art assets. And we want to encourage you to combine the pledges from your guild members to earn the reward. So if you have 30 people that could donate $50 each, your guild's going to receive the reward. So contact me directly if you're looking to combine your pledges for the guild reward. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all in game.